The sound of the ship's engines hummed softly in the background, a constant reminder of my isolation. 4 months now, I'd been drifting through the void of deep space, delivering supplies to remote outposts, on a contract that felt like it would never end. The only company I had was the ship's AI, Lila, who was more of a practical assistant than a conversationalist. The silence of space was occasionally broken by the steady beeps and notifications of my ship's systems, but otherwise, there was nothing to occupy my time but the endless expanse of stars outside the viewport. Or at least that was until she appeared. It had started 2 weeks ago, just after I'd left the mining station on Caldora V. The first time I saw her, I thought it was a trick of the light. I had just completed a routine diagnostic on the ship's outer hull when I noticed something unusual, a figure standing in the dark, just outside the ship's docking bay. Her silhouette was obscured by the dim lights of the distant stars, but there was no mistaking the unmistakable shape of a woman's form. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and when I looked again, she was gone. I told myself it was nothing, a figment of my imagination, perhaps, or some distortion in the sensors. The next day she was back. Standing in almost the same spot, facing the ship, her dark eyes fixed on me through the thick glass of the hull. Her features were still obscured, but there was something striking about her presence. The feeling was primal, unsettling. "Lila, can you check the external cameras?" I asked, trying to shake the strange sensation creeping up my spine. A soft, robotic voice responded. "External cameras show no anomalies. Visual systems are functioning within normal parameters." I frowned. I knew what I had seen, but the ship's sensors didn't detect anything unusual. There was no sign of damage or interference. No other ships. No debris. The next few days passed uneventfully, but I couldn't shake the image of that woman, if she even was a woman, outside my ship. She hadn't shown up again, but her absence left an eerie emptiness in the air. And then, on the 4th day after that first encounter, she returned. I was sitting in the cockpit, flipping through old records and attempting to pass the time when I caught the movement from the corner of my eye. I glanced out the viewport. There she was again, standing in the same position, staring at me. This time there was no mistaking it. She was no longer a shadow, a blur, or a trick of the light. I could see her clearly now. Her body was humanoid but distinctly alien. Her skin was dark, almost black, and appeared to shimmer under the distant light of the stars. Her long hair moved, as if caught in an unseen breeze, and her eyes, those deep glowing eyes, were locked on me with a ferocity that made my heart race. I felt a chill creep over me, and despite myself, I felt drawn to her. It wasn't just curiosity. There was something in those eyes, something ancient. Something that made me feel as if I were being watched by a creature far older, far wiser, than any being I had ever known. I tried to contact the mining station I'd left days ago, but my messages were met with static, a never-ending stream of interference. The signals were too weak. My ship was too far out now, into the dark reaches of space, where communications often faltered. "Lila, do you have any suggestions?" I asked, my voice betraying a hint of nervousness. "Scanning for external objects. No immediate threats detected. It is possible the entity is an unknown form of life. Would you like to initiate further analysis?" Lila's tone was clinical, dispassionate as always. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I just kept watching her, frozen in place, my hands gripping the edge of the console. She was still standing there, her gaze unwavering. It felt like she was waiting for something from me. Days passed, and still she kept appearing. Each time I tried to approach her, but no matter how I adjusted the ship's trajectory, she remained a fixed point outside my ship's hull. She never moved, never acknowledged my attempts to make contact. She simply stared. On the seventh day I made a decision. I had to find out who or what this creature was. I couldn't just sit idly by, wondering if I was losing my mind. So I prepped the ship for a spacewalk. I wasn't sure how close I'd need to get, but I knew I needed to confront her. The suit's seal hissed as it engaged, and I floated out into the void, tethered to the ship. The vacuum of space was as quiet as always, save for the sound of my breathing and the faint hum of the ship's systems behind me. My helmet visor reflected the infinite stars around me as I drifted toward the spot where she had always stood. I was nearly to the place where she'd been last, when something shifted in the distance. Her figure slowly emerged from the shadows, but this time she wasn't standing still. She was moving. Her form flowed like liquid, her limbs long and elegant, yet full of strength. She didn't walk in the traditional sense. She glided, moving effortlessly, like a creature born of the stars themselves. I stopped in my tracks. My pulse quickened, and I felt an unexplainable pull toward her. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice crackling through the suit's communication system. Her eyes locked onto mine again, those glowing orbs pulling me in. And then finally she spoke. "I am no one." Her voice was like the whisper of wind through ancient trees, deep and resonant. "I am a part of this place, this space. I am bound to the void just as you are. But you are not meant to be here." Froze. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. She wasn't just some alien. She was part of something larger, something cosmic. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice trembling. "What do you want from me?" Her gaze softened for a moment, and she took a step closer, the void around us feeling heavier with every passing second. "I do not want anything," she replied. "But you have trespassed. You have crossed into a realm where you do not belong. The space you travel through is not empty, it is alive. And I am its watcher. You cannot stay here." I felt a cold shiver run through me. My thoughts scrambled. Was she a warning? Was she trying to protect me from something I didn't understand? Before I could speak again, she reached out, her hand a mere inch from my visor. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. For a moment, I thought she would pull me into the blackness with her, but instead, she merely touched the surface of my helmet. Her fingers left a faint, glowing imprint like a brand. "You must leave," she said, her voice a final command. And then, as suddenly as she had appeared, she was gone. The space around me was empty once more, the stars twinkling innocently, as if nothing had happened. I floated there for a moment, stunned, before I hurried back to the ship. My heart raced, my mind reeling with the strange encounter. I didn't know if I had just met a god, an ancient being, or something else entirely. But I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't stay where I was. The void had eyes, and they were watching me. I set the ship's course back toward civilization, no longer concerned with my original mission. The creature, no, the watcher, had made it clear. This part of space was not for me. And I would never forget the stare of the Beastwoman that haunted the edges of my mind, like a shadow in the dark.